Hi, so the disability that I'm going to talk about today is called POTS, and it's Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome, and the technical definition for it is a condition that affects circulation. POTS is a form of orthostatic intolerance that the development of symptoms that come on when standing up from a reclining position, and that may be relieved by sitting or lying back down. The primary symptom of orthostatic intolerance is lightheadedness, fainting, and an uncomfortable rapid increase in heart rate. I actually have this disability or condition, and I discovered I had it freshman year of college, and it definitely is something that people don't know about, and it is an invisible illness, and it's considered a chronic illness. I kind of developed symptoms mainly from fainting was my telltale sign that I had it, and it took a really long time for them to diagnose it. The first time I fainted was freshman year of high school, and they just kind of chalked it up to I definitely was really anemic, so they kind of chalked it up to that I was anemic, and that was kind of it. So I have mainly my symptoms are around my menstrual cycle and around like different times of the year. It's not constant for me. I have a really I don't have like a very severe case of POTS. I have a mild case in terms of how it affects me. That could change as time goes on, but my symptoms have definitely gotten better as I've gotten older, and that also has to do with the fact that I've treated my anemia. So that kind of goes along with POTS as well, as most people with POTS have anemia as well, or they have another disease called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which I will talk about later. But the symptoms aren't super intense for me, which is a blessing, but a lot of people who have POTS really struggle with it, and it is something that really affects their life and is really intense. Also, it isn't always treated and diagnosed correctly, and a lot of doctors don't even know about it. And I was lucky to go to a cardiologist who did know about it. I had done my own research and kind of thought that I might have this, so I had mentioned it to my doctor, and he was like, let me do a test. So I did a tilt table test, which is where you like go on a table and then they tilt you back, and then they tilt you back up, and if you faint, I fainted 3 times during that time, and they knew that I had POTS from that, just because that's how POTS works. It's an orthostatic intolerance, and it's an autonomic disorder, so your blood can't get to your head in time, so that's why you faint. And typically it's treated with like lying down, and that kind of helps. But for me, I take salt tablets. You need a lot of sodium in your diet if you have POTS, because it opens up your blood veins, and so the blood can circulate around your body a lot better and easier. That being said, it is definitely really tricky for people to treat, and it's not really curable, and for some people it's not even treatable. So it really sucks, and it affects women more than it affects men. Not saying that it affects men, doesn't affect men, it does, but women are more likely to have it than men. And most of the time it goes untreated because people can't diagnose it, and they chalk it up to other things, because fainting can be a symptom of a lot of different diseases. I also take a medication, and that is given to me by a cardiologist as well. So it's kind of a heart medication, but not really a heart medication. It's kind of complicated. It's a really complicated disorder, and I had to also wear a heart monitor, which also told that my heart rate increased a lot when I stood up, a lot more than normal people. So that was another reason I got diagnosed as well. So there's a lot of different ways to get diagnosed, and there's a lot of different treatments that you can take, but it definitely is a really unique and invisible disorder, which people don't always give credit to. And it is tricky to have because it's not always treated the same as a physical ailment that is really noticeable. So yeah, that is my thoughts on POTS, Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome. And yeah.